Hey, good morning to you all. It is Monday. After some clouds, we're into some sunshine here. Kind of like that big ball there on the left side of your screen there. Hey, Craig.
Thought you were going into a weather forecast for a minute.
I was thinking about it, but what you see is what you get for today. A little chilly, a little sun.
Literally, what you see is what you get. Professor just woke up.
That's right, okay? And that's the way it should be. But at least you don't have holes in your jeans.
No.
That's good. Yeah,
No, I save those for another day.
Well, we're talking again, part two of the solar system. We did the inner ones, including our home planet here on Earth. Now we're going to go beyond the asteroid
out
belt
there.
into the outer planets.
And just look at the sheer size of those planets. The inner belt, which we discussed, comprised of Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. And then if you look to the right of those red dots that you see there in the middle of the screen, look at the size of those planets compared to us, little Earth.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're pretty much drawn to scale. In other words, you know, the size of the planets is roughly, you know, what we would expect them to be. And yeah, I mean, you look at, look at all four. I mean, Earth is the largest inner planet, and we don't even come close.
Right.
To the sizes of those outer planets.
So that's we're just going to start off with a little review here. So that's kind of a snapshot of the solar system. But let's define a planet again. Remember, it must be round. It must orbit that yellow star called the sun. 8 planets total. And we're going to talk about Pluto. I'm not leaving Pluto out. Just not gonna. Comprised of 4 inner planets, which we discussed on Friday, because it's Monday now, right? Yes.
That's
so
correct.
We discussed on Friday. Those planets made of rock. The 4 outer planets, which we're going to delve into today, are made of gas, and as you just saw, are much larger. So let's dive right in, shall we?
Let's go.
First one, Jupiter, the gas giant. 484 million miles from the sun. The atmosphere comprised of hydrogen and helium. Believe it or not, it has 3 rings and 67 moons.
Wow.
By far and away, the largest planet in our solar system. Check this out. 1,300 Earths could fit inside Jupiter.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, 1,300 of them.
Yes. And I wanted to point something out here. You see that red dot? It's kind of a cool picture of Jupiter. You can kind of see both hemispheres, and you can kind of see some little features on the planet. But notice that big red dot right there. That's kind of a mystery to scientists. It is the Great Red Spot, and think of it as a hurricane on Jupiter. The thing about this hurricane is you could probably fit, let's see, it's twice the size of Earth.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
So imagine the whole planet Earth basically covered in one giant hurricane.
Right. And the thing is it's similar, the physics are similar to the hurricanes we get here on our planet, but with Jupiter and the Great Red Spot, this storm, for some reason, and they're still studying, is self-sustaining. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
And you get these little storms that form, and that big red, giant red spot actually absorbs those little storms. So maybe that has something to do with it, where it's constantly feeding into it. But that's one of the key features of Jupiter.
Yeah, it is. And boy, I hope they figure it out. I mean, unfortunately, we just can't fly there and figure it out. You know, we have to go by, you know, the 350 million miles that we have to look between Earth and Jupiter. See, I mean, could you imagine hurricanes that never die out?
Yeah.
The havoc it would.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. So pretty cool little factoid there about Jupiter and the giant red spot. If you're interested in learning more, just Google it. You'll find out a whole bunch about it, and it's still being studied. Still, there's still a lot of unanswered questions about that one.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on.
Saturn, okay, this was the original ring planet. That's one that we grew up. I mean, they found rings on Jupiter. I mean, it's been fairly recent on Jupiter, maybe the past 20, 30 years, I think.
Yeah.
But Saturn, we've known from a long time. It is, so we still call it the ringed planet, 886 million miles from the sun. So the atmosphere, like Jupiter, is hydrogen and helium, which, by the way, our sun is primarily that. Oh, were you going to talk about that?
No,
okay, yeah, the sun is basically hydrogen. 7 rings, a few less moons, 62, Okay, be interesting to know. I mean, if you put all the moons together, would they be as large as the Earth?
That is interesting.
Good question. So, and the rings span 175,000 miles
Right.
of ring, and you have in there. Notice the
aurora. So at the bottom of the planet, you see the aurora there. If you look at the south side of the planet,
It's that blue. It's that kind of bluish white,
bluish ring there.
little hook there.
Yeah, that's actually an aurora on Saturn. And come to find out, which was pretty interesting, Saturn is the second most planet to Earth to have auroras.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah,
No
pretty
kidding.
interesting fact.
That is interesting.
So that was able to, at first when I saw this picture, I was like, no, that can't be real.
Yeah.
But then as I did the more research into it, it is in fact a real picture. And I thought that was a pretty neat little stat about Saturn, that they actually have the aurora borealis like we do here on Earth. Pretty much all planets can have this, but in terms of magnitude, Earth and then Saturn is next in line.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now that, interesting.
Yeah. Now, if you're wondering what the rings are made up of, those are ice
Ice
particles.
crystals.
So that's what compromises the rings or makes up the rings of Saturn. But pretty cool snapshot there with the aurora on Saturn. So pretty cool stuff there. Let's move on and we'll talk about Uranus. I can already hear the jokes.
Yeah,
I can already hear the jokes.
Yes, but that's how you pronounce it.
Yes, that is how you pronounce it. It is known as the ice giant, so 1.8 billion miles from the sun. Hydrogen, helium, and methane gas make up Uranus. 13 rings and 2 moons. Other interesting thing about this planet is it actually spins on its side. It has the largest tilt in the entire solar system. And like Venus, this planet spins opposite the others. And notice how it kind of has that bluish tinge to it. That's what it looks like because of the methane gas that is made up of the atmosphere. Kind of gives us that bluish tint.
Yes, and a lot of gases they actually give off. They give off a different color, depending on what they're. Venus is yellow. For us, our blue comes more from our oceans, from the water vapor here. Yeah, but methane does give off kind of that blue hue. That's its primary emitter, and these gases emit, and that's how we can discover that. That's how we find out, what typical gases are. So, yeah, and it's tilted, so the North Pole is technically more coming out the sides, as opposed to popping up and down like we would see on most other planets.
Right. And as you might presume, it's pretty cold because it's the ice giant. That's the nickname. So that's the planet Uranus. Proper pronunciation, please. The next one.
And finally, we get to Neptune.
This one's cool. I love Neptune.
Well, Neptune, we call it the windy planet. It's 28 billion miles
We've gone up a
from
notch,
the sun. Absolutely. You notice the blue hue there with the hydrogen, helium, and methane. And something I'm just learning this today, is the rings. I didn't know every single one of the outer planets had rings. It makes sense because they're all gas planets. And I also wonder, with 14 moons, why does Uranus only have 2?
Right. That's why it's space, Tom.
Yeah.
Because there's so
why
much
does
unknown.
it have 2? Because most. There are several theories about how a planet gets its moon, but the most common is their gravitational pull takes other debris in the atmosphere. Uranus and Neptune are similar in size. Why wouldn't Uranus have more?
It's a good question. We'll have to delve into that maybe a little bit more. And we call it the windy planet because take a look at that little stat there at the bottom. The wind on Neptune can be 9 times stronger than the wind on Earth.
Wow.
Now, I did some number crunching, and just off the research that I found, it could be higher, but just kind of a quick look at it. 900 miles per hour.
Wow.
900 miles per hour the wind can reach on Neptune. That's incredible.
That is, yeah. And obviously, that's something that, I mean, that's. It seems to go as fast as the planet rotation
Right.
itself, because the Earth rotates at the equator at about 1,100 miles an hour. That's speed.
Yeah.
But our atmosphere doesn't follow suit.
Yeah.
Thank heaven.
Yeah. We'd have problems.
We'd have a lot of problems, absolutely. But it's interesting why, how it would have that speed, because maybe that's, I wonder if that's the actual rotation speed of the planet.
Well, it's way out there, you know. Again, that was just a quick little stat that I read from a reliable source, and it said up to. So it may not be an everyday thing, but,
Well, I mean, even 9 times, I mean, the average wind speed here in Erie is about, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Multiply that by 9. That would give us an average wind speed of over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
On any typical day. Could you imagine dealing with that?
Oh, yeah.
Day to day?
There's just no way.
We just couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
How can you plant your seeds?
You can't.
They'd blow the Warren.
Yeah. And beyond, probably.
Beyond, that's right.
Hey, so that now, after 2006, things kind of changed in our solar system. So that is our solar system, technically, by definition. That is all the planets. However, there's one little guy, and there is still controversy about it to this day. And of course, we're talking about our buddy Pluto. He's way, way out there. Pluto was declassified as a planet in 2006. Now, it's classified as a dwarf planet. Well, what is a dwarf planet? It's smaller than Mercury, okay? And my kind of take on it is, I hate to pick on the little guy, but there's nothing, quote unquote, exceptional about Pluto. To be a planet, you have to be exceptional. There can't be anything else like you around it.
Okay.
The thing is with Pluto, he's way out there in the I think it's Kepler belt, I believe. Kuiper belt, something like that. Way, way out there. And the thing is with Pluto is he has a lot of other dwarf planets that surround him that are kind of the same. So there's really nothing special. I hate to say it. There's really nothing special that really makes Pluto stand out. But you know what? I hate picking on the little guy. So Pluto, in my mind, in my own stupid opinion, will always be a planet.
Right, and for all of us who grew up with Pluto as a planet, yes, in our hearts, Pluto is still there.
Yeah.
Pluto, you're the man.
But if you're a true blue scientist, unfortunately, he cannot be considered an actual planet, given the definition of what a planet is nowadays. But we just wanted to give a little homage and shout out to our boy Pluto, way out there. And don't pick on the little guy.
That's right.
Come on.
Come on. Pluto did nothing to deserve the scorn, in our opinion.
All right, so that's basically kind of a wrap-up of the solar system. We just threw some stats at you, some facts at you about the different planets and how there is kind of a crossover when it comes to weather and the solar system. We could draw some similarities, at least in terms of theory and idea. But the weather in space is obviously much more impressive.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you get the kind of planets that we do, we got the big red spot, which is basically, Jupiter's version of a permanent hurricane.
Yeah.
Permanent hurricane. I mean, it's definitely windy, and it's definitely stormy. You got the Aurora Borealis there on Saturn.
I want to say for the Great Red Spot, the average wind is 270 miles an hour.
That sound, those numbers sound familiar. 270.
Yeah.
That's high.
Okay, so we had one question that came in, and someone asked us, can you talk about the Milky Way? I said, sure, I would love a Milky Way. Because I love candy
Milky
bars.
Way with Mars and little M&Ms along with it there.
Oh, that one.
Oh, this Milky Way.
That one. Hey, bring that up full. And you can see this is actually a shot right in our own backyards. This is in Cambridge Springs.
Yes.
A nice exposed shot of the Milky Way galaxy. 100 to 400 billion stars, okay?
Wow.
But the most you're going to see at any point on the globe is around 2,500.
Okay.
And the thing about the Milky Way, now I believe the largest galaxy has something like 100 trillion stars. So
Okay.
when you classify the Milky Way compared to the largest one, it's actually like a middleweight,
Okay.
you know?
No.
And the thing is this is constantly losing stars through a supernova, what's called a supernova, which is really interesting science if you're interested
Sure.
in learning about space and the things that happen in space. It's actually almost a little scary. It's actually a little scary, a supernova. But if we're not going to go into that because that's incredibly complicated science. But anyway, for every star it loses, it creates a new one. And the average is about 7 stars per year. So
Okay.
we wanted to give a quick shout out to the Milky Way there too.
Hello to Milky Way, absolutely. And with the Mars bar and the M&Ms,
Right.
I think it's the same company.
Sure.
Do you know what the most common color of M&Ms in a regular M&Ms pack? This is our trivia question
Okay.
earlier today on Good Morning Erie, so some of you may know the answer. It's the most common color of M&Ms in a standard bag of standard M&Ms. Yellow, red, I'll give it to you a choice here. Yellow, red, brown, or green?
Yellow, red, brown, or green.
It's one of those 4.
Yellow, red, brown, or green. I am going to go with I'm going to go with red.
Oh, okay. Red is actually the second least common.
That's my favorite color. Come
See,
on.
I know. See, green is my favorite color. And
I
that
like
is-
green, too.
And that is the least.
Really?
Brown.
Brown. I was
Brown.
my second choice.
Yes. Brown is the about 45, on average, brown is, in a regular pack, not the little mini packs. Brown is the most common color of M&Ms. I believe it's like 45%
Wow.
are brown.
Interesting.
Okay, so there you go.
There you go. We kind of got off topic there
That's
for a minute,
okay.
but that's okay.
We just
were
wanted
talking
to
about the
fill a
Milky
little
Way.
time here.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to do. So there you go. There is your candy reference for today.
Yeah. That's going to wrap it up for today, but don't forget, we're wanting to know and looking for what is inspiring you. You know, it could be space, could be planets, could be the great red spot on Mars, it could be the little guy Pluto.
Could be M&Ms.
Could be M&Ms.
Well, maybe no, not M&Ms. Unless you want to be a dentist.
Yeah, exactly. Email us your other questions, weather at wjettv.com. You guys have been awesome. The responses have been great. And what we're going to do on Wednesday, because of the atmosphere setting up the way it is this week, we're actually going to play a little game with you guys on Wednesday called Find the Front. And we're gonna kind of go over the different fronts, which is kind of going to be a little bit of a review, but we're going to delve into them a little bit more.
Sure.
And then on Friday, they finally said, Craig, you're ugly, get off. So Tom Atkins will be here, our resident historian, and we're going to be talking about some of the most historic weather patterns.
Some historic weather patterns here in the region. Some you as kids may not know. If your moms or dads are watching, they may remember them. And we'll be doing several of these with Tom A. And you know, Craig and Tom will do some. So we're going to kind of switch off here. But give Tom Atkins a little fun time.
And truth be told, I'll give my colleagues here a little bit of a plug because they've been here a long time. So they're
Really
much
long
better versed to talk to you about that than little old me.
Yes, and that'll be coming up this Friday.
Yeah.
But until then, you'll have yours truly along with Craig here on Wednesday. And that is Weather Academy for this Monday. Enjoy the sunshine that we're having today, a little bit cool. And we look forward.
Hey, it's finally going to warm up.
Yeah,
It looks like it.
Like a nice, relatively mild week. Got to deal with some rain, but that's okay.
There he goes, giving the forecast again.
But it's nice to see
That's right.
milder
it is.
weather.
It
to,
is.
get
All right,
back
we got to
on
go.
April.
Thanks for watching.
Enjoy. Have a good one.
See ya.